So, Your Excellency, before I begin, let me allow those that are here who are now serving at your pleasure to introduce themselves individually and by designation, being with the most senior.
Thank you. Thank you. My name is Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Mokgweetsi Masisi. I'm the President of the Secretary. I'm the Secretary to Cabinet and also the Head of Public Service. Good morning, Mr. President. My name is Masisi.
Mr. President, good morning. My name is Dr. Yawera Haka. I'm the Permanent Secretary to Botswana Television.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, Duma Gideon Boko, Chief of Staff.
Morning, Mr. President. The office number is the Permanent Secretary for State.
Good morning, Mr. President. My name is Mokgweetsi Masisi, and I'm the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Finance.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, Your Honor. Good morning, sir. My name is Duma Boko. I'm the PS in for Defense and Security. Congratulations, Mr. President.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, sir. My name is ncha, PS in the Ministry of Trade and Industry.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, all. My name is Hamne Macholo, the Director at DPSF. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. President. My name is Naledi Staramabaka, PS, Minister of Justice.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, sir. My name is Ncha. I'm the General Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, sir. My name is Kalailo Kwe. I'm the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Minerals and Energy. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. President. My name is Bridget Poppy John. I'm the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Youth, Gender, Sport and Culture.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, sir. My name is Kabelo Igining. I'm the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Entrepreneurship.
Good morning, Mr. President. Nagi Video Botswana Television, the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Environment.
Good morning, Mr. President. My name is Timelo Rama Wawani, Director General, Drug Enforcement Agency.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, sir. My name is Bagaetsho, Drug International Assembly.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, sir. My name is Akama Lieutenant Sergeant, PS, Minister of Transport and Public Works. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Mr. President. Director General, Directorate on Corruption and Economic Affairs. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, sir. My name is Mokgweetsi Masisi, PS, Ministry of Lands and Water Affairs. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Mr. President. My name is Permanent Secretary for the Second Chair of Government, Minister of Local Government and Rural Development. Thank you, sir.
Very much.
Good morning, Mr. President. My name is Dumelang, Chief Registrar, High Court, Administration of Justice.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, sir. My name is Bonolo Elizabeth Kumataka, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education and Skills Development. Thank you, sir.
What's up? Mr. President, I am Anthony Mukento, Commissioner, Botswana Prison Service.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, sir.
Good morning, Mr. President. My name is Adana Marate, the Commissioner of the Botswana Police Service. Congratulations, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Good morning, Mr. President. Lieutenant General Pastor Soul, Commander of the Joint Force. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, sir. John Moretti, Clerk to Cabinet.
Good morning, Mr. President. My name is Mr. Molemele. I'm Assistant Secretary Cabinet.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, sir. My name is Aida Lawakoma-Zamai. I'm the General Counsel and the Office of the President. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Mr. President. My name is Mpho Mulomo, Professor of Political Science, Advisor to Political Advisor to President Masisi.
Thank you, Paul.
Good morning, Mr. President. My name is Jacob Mkate. I'm advisor to the President, Interior Affairs.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, Mr. President, Your Honor. Good morning, sir. My name is Kayalo Molefe, Advisor to His Excellency Governance. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, sir.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, sir. My name is Vasco Lolias, ICT Advisor Plus.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Mr. President. My name is Jackson Madima. I'm an advisor to HE National Security. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, Mr. President. My name is Loretta Plaiti, the Acting Command Secretary of the Ministry of Affairs.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, sir. My name is Dr. Christopher Mulu. I'm the Commissioner General of the National Planning Commission.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, sir. I'm Ward Hopa Mpomazan, and I'm the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, sir. My name is Peter Fala Amosi, representative of the PIC. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Mr. President. My name is Violet Petty. I'm the Acting Chief of Law. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Mr. President. Stephen Tiwakosi, Ombudsman.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, Mr. President. Individual Sedi Salefam Aolawe, Acting Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Communications, Knowledge and Technology. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, Mr. President. My name is Mokgweetsi, Permanent Secretary of Government Communications.
Good morning, Mr. President. Sir, I am Ubatile Sekari, Senior Private Secretary to the President. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. President, and congratulations. My name is Rul Jinokyo. I'm the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Labor and Home Affairs. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
It looks like those are all that make the government accounting officers and the equivalents in other independent institutions. So, Mr. President, there are some things that we will say in the presence of media. Then when we finish, we will ask that they excuse us briefly so that we remain alone here. But all that's said and done, we are prepared for the handover comprehensively. It will be led by the Permanent Secretary of the President. We think at a time convenient to you and the rest of your team, once you make your appointments or the Vice President and your ministers and your PSs, we will provide that briefing. I don't need to remind you of the powers you have. You're a lawyer by profession. You know them extensively. These serve at your service, at your pleasure rather. And so it will be up to you to retain or not retain. And if you chose not to retain, there are obligations that will have to be met. But it's really out of a discussion that you will have with each and every one of them. They too are well aware of that. It's a mutual relationship that should ensue from that. From my side, we've had some discussion. We've agreed to continue, but I have a pack here of the instruments that you would need for power, Your Excellency. It's a gago morena.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Am I expected to say anything? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, Your Excellency. I was a little surprised they were not referring to you as Your Excellency. When I said they must call me Mr. President, I didn't mean you must take away from others His Excellency. And we give him a lot of respect and a lot of admiration. Thank you very much. I'm humbled to sit here with you, accepting this most lofty and honorable responsibility. I accept it with humility. I accept it with some trepidation, knowing that it's a very, very big assignment. The expectations are daunting. And sometimes you wonder whether when you told yourself you were up to the task, you had done a good enough assessment of yourself and of the environment in which you will step. But one is here now, having been given this responsibility. At instances, we will muddle through as intelligently as we possibly can, without pretending we know or we are in any way fully in control of situations. We will muddle through intelligently. We will with each other. We will play open cards with each other, because that's the way we can do it. But the most important aspect of what is happening today is the maturation, if you will. Our democracy has demonstrated today, more than it ever has before, that this is a mature democracy. The maturity of democracy is measured, we know, from this very occurrence. Can power move from one regime to another regime peacefully, without any drama, without any unpleasantness? And it has happened today. Botswana has demonstrated to the whole world that the accolades that we've enjoyed as a shining example of democracy were more than well deserved. I engaged with the president here, former president, over the last few days. First, during the counting process, before the results were declared or were even clear, he reached out to me and congratulated me and indicated to me that the process is still underway. I remain hopeful that we will bounce back. But congratulations, you're doing very well. And towards the end, before it was concluded, him and I spoke again. Called me and he said, let me inform you that I will concede. We're still waiting, but once the magic number is reached, let me give you my assurance that I will concede. And so there was never any doubt, never any apprehension of a somersault. It was always clear, and it was more than comforting to know that this democracy has now stood the test of time. It has established itself. And true to his undertaking, he did publicly and solemnly make the concession. I was more than humbled by that. If I had respect, and I did, for the former president, my respect for him at that time reached the stratosphere. I now can say, and say confidently, I have the greatest respect and admiration for a person who, in those circumstances, still has the courage and the conviction to accept, and the magnanimity to reach out, and the sincerity to communicate a very solemn undertaking. That's the most humbling. And we are much in his debt. We are indebted to him eternally. And I think at this point I would kindly request that we give him a round of applause. We may not appreciate the seriousness, the enormity, and the profundity of what he has done. In other countries, these things don't happen. We would be embroiled in conflict, civil strife, because an incumbent refuses to accept an outcome. Not in Botswana, not with this former president. And for that, we are eternally grateful. I accept this responsibility. I accept it, as I say, humbly. I've said publicly. I want to say it again to you. I'm frail, I'm fallible, sometimes broken and fissured, needing some healing, needing some help, sometimes needing a hug. And if you can offer that, that would be most welcome. But we also have a serious and very daunting responsibility ahead of us. We are going to work together. In the process, we might offend each other. And let me tell you something about me. When I come to you, because I think or I'm told, rightly or wrongly, that you've done something wrong, you need to watch. If I come to you agitated, angry, and I threaten, or I tell you you're fired, when we part, go home and celebrate and say that this man is not going to fire me. When I'm in that state of mind, if I ever get, I never take any action. So when I'm angry and you feel freaked out and you say he will do something drastic, that's the time that I'm at my most harmless. I want you to know that today, so that you don't, when we raise voices at each other, sometimes as we may, I hope we don't, feel threatened or scared. I want you to relax when you do your job, to apply yourself, do the very best. We're going to operate on merit. Merit doesn't care whether you are my friend or you are not. Merit doesn't care whether you like me or I like you. Merit doesn't care whether we've said nasty things about each other. Merit is merit. And let merit speak for each and every one of us. And let us do the very best for our country as its most decorated, trained, experienced professionals. I'm very happy to accept this role. I'm grateful to you, Your Excellency. You've demonstrated a level of democratic passion and commitment that is unrivaled, certainly on the African continent, but even across the breadth and dimensions of the world. Let me, as I conclude, seize this moment to just introduce Mr. Nkosinathi Ndaba Gaolati. Not Tle. I don't know whether it's the same thing though, but Nkosinathi Ndaba Gaolati is the Vice President designate. We will go through the formalities of confirming that, and we appreciate him. He also has that calming effect on the other guy who sometimes can be erratic, that guy being me. So he is the calming influence. But there's a time I saw him at his most agitated, and I said, oh, he can get agitated. I never thought he could. But those moments are seldom if they do come at all. I only saw that once. And even then he wasn't dramatic about it, but I could tell he was putting his foot down. And for that I appreciate him. I appreciate all of you folks. I know we meet each other. We have certain impressions of each other. You have been told whatever you've been told. You had your own ideas. This is the time to check and cross-check whether what you've told yourself about me, about him, is actually true. I don't know what you told yourself. You'll tell me at some point, and you'll also tell me whether you've been vindicated or you've found yourself amazed at how wrong you were. So thank you very much, senior members of the Public Service of the Republic of Botswana. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for your stewardship over the last 6.5 years. And we're certainly going to miss you. But I hope when I do swing by at the Sau ward, which is not very far from Mohau, you and I will bump into each other, and when we do, we shall smile, and we shall, I don't know what you like. You'll find out. We'll have whatever cuisine of your liking. So thank you very much. I'm pleased, I'm very happy, I'm humbled. Our democracy has proved itself. Thank you. We will kindly ask the press contingent to excuse us so that we can do a tete-a-tete and
Mr. President, to approach that. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. President.
And that the handover of office from former President Dr. Mokgweetsi Masisi to President Advocate Duma Gideon Boko happening at this moment. Well, at this moment, the press has just been ushered out of the room, and that, of course, includes us. We'll catch up with the details of that handover as time as time progresses. So in studio, I do have a guest with me to discuss a totally different matter, but related to election 2024. Refilwe Kabanyane is here with me in studio. Maybe you want to comment on this. This is smooth transition happening. This is us witnessing smooth transition of power.
Perfect definition of smooth transition of power.
Yeah.
And the fact that it is done in such a manner that is quite exemplary to other states is to be commended. How our former state president has allowed and given grace to the current president, and has even offered to give him guidance and assistance wherever he needs, does show that this is true democracy being practiced.
Yeah. Well, newsy items are coming out of there. His Excellency President Boko did pronounce that Vice President designate as Re Ndaba Khaoladle.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So it's still around election 2024. Botswana has ushered a new government, yes. First in almost the 6 decades that we're seeing a transition of power from one party to another. But what does this shift of governance mean for Botswana's diplomacy going forward as an international player, as a country? International expert Refilwe Kabanyane joins me here in studio. We are going to unpack that, the implications of that, and other matters around election 2024's historic occurrence. Let me welcome you formally now. Good morning. Thank you for coming through.
Thank you for having me.
Right. So internationally, though, as an international relations expert, what sort of interest or attention are you finding that Botswana's election 2024 is receiving?
I've quite noticed that there have been a lot of congratulatory messages coming in from neighboring states, South Africa, Namibia. There have been messages coming in from Russia and America as well. I mean, there's been a lot of congratulations, or how we conducted our elections has been commendable. A lot are commending President Boko for having achieved such a position, given that the former party has been in government for almost 6 decades. And the true test of democracy is when we see democracy being shared amongst other parties, that being a multi-party democracy. So we're now practicing the true multi-party democracy that we've been taught in schools, that we've always learned about. And one thing that I did notice from the Economic Times was an article that they made as to how the former President Masisi had conceded to defeat and had actually made himself available to the current administration to continue to serve it. That is something that is very commendable. And they actually passed a joke to say maybe President Trump could actually pick something from how we conducted our elections and how election results are to be accepted. So it's quite commendable as to how we conducted them. And it's actually offered inspiration to the youth as well, youth in neighboring countries. Namibia has made comments on how we, as the voters, were able to take to the polls and make a decision. And it was also posed encouragement to neighboring South Africa for their next coming election. So there is going to be a change or a shift in
international political landscape.
Yes, there's going to be a shift definitely within the African region, and it is it's going to be one for the books.
Interesting, because we talk about a smooth transition. We report about it in this moment that we just witnessed here in that handover of office. The cordial and the congenial atmosphere as well. Yes, former President Masisi did offer himself to be supportive of the new Commander-in-Chief. But then we also hear just now in his thank you, President Boko saying, listen, I will call on you. It's just that congeniality.
Yes, like I did mention, you know, that what we've just witnessed is something that we rarely get to see. This is what democracy is all about. I think at this point, former heads of states would then say, I would look to the former as my older brother, or as my the little voice in my corner that offers guidance. So we should get to a point in politics, not just Africa, but just internationally. We should get to a point in politics whereby we're able to call on the former administration to provide guidance, because it's not easy. I don't think it could be easy on anybody. One moment you're Refilwe, the next you're president.
Over the instruments that his office will require, as we saw in that moment. But of course, I suppose this being an active process, presidenting.
It calls for a whole lot more than what we just saw happening.
And the passing over of certain instruments.
It's not just about this. You know, it goes beyond that.
All right. We have witnessed, I must say, in the recent past, what I would I choose to call winds of change. I'm talking a region SADC at least, because we saw it happen in Zambia. An opposition party took to power. We saw it happen in South Africa, which led to the coalition, and we're seeing it happening in Botswana. I want you to comment on that. What is the political landscape, at least of SADC, experiencing?
The winds of change are taking a different direction from what we are used to, what we are accustomed to. And I believe this really solely lies within the younger generation. The transition from those being young to, from the elderly generation to the younger generation is quite vast. And how our parents lived isn't how we are living right now. So with us, we are starting to get a whole lot more engaged in politics and to really understand the dynamics of politics and the power that my ballot paper holds. So because that is starting to happen and there's more youth participation, the youth wants to start holding leaders accountable. And whoever's not accountable is dealt with at the ballot box. So that is exactly what is happening currently. They want to see the change that is promised during campaigns. They want to see what One has to offer for me. She said she's going to provide jobs. One, where are the jobs? One said she wants to build a hospital. Where's the hospital? You don't provide that. They want to move on because they want change. They want progressive change.
You know what you mentioned while we were watching the handover of the office of presidency. There is a report that came up around April this year, where Afrobarometer was predicting perhaps the usual or even more apathy, voter apathy among young people. But the statistics are saying different.
They're saying different. And I wish actually the report I wish it could have been released maybe in September, certainly not July, because from July until election day, a lot changed. They did anticipate that, yes, usually the youth doesn't participate in politics, community engagement, public debates. You wouldn't find the youth anyway. But something did change in the atmosphere, and it prompted the youth to now become active in politics. I mean, the youth is the generation that is more focused on social media. Something is shared in 30 seconds, it trends, you know. So you can imagine if something is said about the current administration that is going to be landing amongst 10, 20 people within 2 minutes. So with that kind of information going around, it does prompt the youth to say, no, I think I want to say something now.
Am I reading that, am I reading you interpreting you correctly, that perhaps even the advancement in technology, the advent of social media, where whatever information that perhaps would have taken a whole week for a newspaper publication and then a whole other amount of time to reach other people is now happening instantaneously, and that instantaneous transfer of information might have had an impact.
Yes, it definitely had an impact, because here's the thing with what's happening of late. If something is posted on social media, it's there, it's a record. When they want to hold you accountable and you deny having said something, they just go back to the files and they bring it up. But you said this on this date. So that is how we then see information sharing goes around quite instantaneously, as you've mentioned, and is what they use to hold our leaders accountable.
Okay, all right. So let's go back to the picture that I say is different. The statistics are being different. So we're seeing now
increased youth participation. Our youth accounts for over 50% of our population. So
60.
you can over 60%. My apologies.
Yeah.
Over 60% of our population. So you can imagine such numbers at the polls that would definitely do a number when it comes to the results.
Okay, so then this smooth transition as well, as what was expected to be anyway. I wonder, though, from international